Going through all the movies you just listed, I never cared for the Goonies. I never cared for E.T. I never cared.
What? What?
Hello and welcome back to the Jane Z podcast. My name is Jason Van Ort,
And I'm Zeth Makala.
and today I am finally back. It may not have seemed like it, but I got my wait, I didn't get my tonsils taken out. That was last year, but I got my wisdom teeth removed, so I couldn't do any recording in the past week. But I'm feeling a lot better. I will be opening up my PayPal for my pity money, please. All right. Today, we are going to be talking about actually probably one of my favorite movies of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Really? This is one of your favorites of all time?
It's up there. It is honestly up there. I like the fact that this movie just is simple. It kind of means nothing, but it tells one message, but it tells it very well, you know? Is it stupid sometimes? Yes. But is he not my kind of guy? Like, come on. I didn't know he was chill like that. Like, come on, bro. Like, come
Well,
on.
I'm kind of interested. What is the message that you get out of this movie?
I believe it's one of the last lines of the movie. He says something along the lines of, you know, life moves fast. Sometimes you gotta just stop and look at it, or he said something like that.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
And is that not what he does the whole movie? Cameron's like, you know, he's freaking out. Rightfully so, might I add. That Ferrari ain't. That Ferrari, may it rest in peace. But, yeah, Ferris is just a great character. I've always been a giant fan of Matthew Broderick. He was the best part in 2000 or 1998 Godzilla. Big fan.
Don't even remind me of that atrocity.
We'll get
That
to that
could be
in
a
different
whole.
episode.
That's a whole other video right there, Jace. Don't even remind me about that lizard.
I think though that he was the perfect casting choice. Young Matthew Broderick.
That's a whole other conversation there, Jace. That's a whole other conversation.
Hey, I can't help what he did afterwards. I just like him as an actor, not as a driver. He's pretty terrible at that.
Oh, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about the movie Godzilla.
Oh no, not. I'm talking about Matthew. I'm talking about Ferris. Not the Godzilla. Everybody knows that's garbage.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, but what are your thoughts on the movie, Seth?
Well, I'm not as big of a fan. I mean, like, I can quote the movie inside and out and backwards, but it's definitely not in my top 10, like you said. It's probably in my top 100 maybe, or 50, but I mean, I enjoy the movie just as much as anyone, and I have my favorite moments, but it's not one of my favorite of all time, that's for sure.
Really, I like it when movies don't try too hard. I like it when they try too hard in other areas, but it's just a fun movie to watch. You know, I want to be Ferris Bueller. That's it. Whenever I'm like going out in the town, you know, or you know, heading up to the beach or something, I'm always like, yeah, let's Ferris Bueller this. Like, let's just do whatever we want, you know. It's, you know, like
Nah,
not
I wanna
whatever
be
we want, but like,
listen, you can be Ferris.
yeah,
I
I'm
can be
staying
the
up
two
till
garage
11.
guys that steal the Ferrari.
Yeah, I love the fact that they stole that. It totally slipped my mind the first time.
You know what they're doing, actually? Which it just got announced, which I'm actually on board for, but it's a spin-off, not a sequel of Ferris Bueller, but it's a spin-off of what those two did.
That sounds so dumb. I hate
What? I'm
spin-offs.
actually on board for it, because with a sequel to Ferris Bueller, it's...
They went on a joyride and racked up miles. What else is there to say?
Yeah, but wouldn't it be kind of funny if throughout the movie, like, they totally trash the Ferrari, and it's like them, like, maybe they like a license to drive sort of situation?
I guess I just can't see it being anything. I think it sounds like something I'd watch and then immediately forget afterwards.
It does, but I mean, as in terms of a comedy, I think you could do with a lot there. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. But as far as the movie goes, I think its strongest point is its characters. I really like Ferris. I really like Cameron. His girlfriend's kind of fun too, Ferris's, and you know, I think her name's Jeannie, the sister. I mean, sorry. I like that the whole movie is really about Cameron, I feel, and him learning to stand up for himself, stand up for his dad, to his dad, and the ending really ties it all together. But it's just kind of unlike anything I've seen. No movie doesn't take itself seriously enough. This movie kind of, you know, it teaches that, it drills that lesson. It's like, you got to just kind of live in the present sometimes. You got to just, you know, confidence favors the bold. Sometimes you just got to do what's right and what's fun and then worry about it later because, I don't know, asking for forgiveness way easier than asking for permission. I'll tell you that much. But I think that people should honestly be a little more like Ferris, because if you do, the entire school will rally around you. And, you know, if you get sick, let's just say you get sick or something, you have this whole network of people willing to drive down to the hospital, hire the plane and the banner and the water tower and the... They will save your life, you know.
That is probably the best running joke in a movie.
The best part.
Because it keeps building itself. You have it in the beginning where the freshmen call him up and he's pulling their leg and such, and he's pressing on the keys and with the coughing and the hacking, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you dying?" And you know, he says freshman, and then it keeps building itself and building until finally till finally at the end you see the Save Ferris sign on the water tower.
Oh, I like that there's little things like that running in the background. I'm fairly confident now that I think about it. Maybe Candace from Phineas and Ferb is kind of inspired by Jeannie or whatever his sister's name is, trying to like get him in trouble this whole time, caring about what he's doing. And you know, she's a good character in Phineas and Ferb. I didn't like her, you know, but she had a place, and she learned her lesson in that show, and I like the lesson in here. She if you remember, you know, she's trying to get him in trouble this whole time. She doesn't buy it, you know, he's faking it. She ends up in the whole hijinks with the principal. That's the other good part. There's all these stories, but I'm trying not to get too off topic. If you remember, she ends up at the police station and she meets this like delinquent guy that knows him, and it's kind of the same lesson as throughout. You know, they like each other, and then he's like, "Hey, you know, quit worrying about your little brat of a brother. Worry about yourself and just."
No, I like the part when she's explaining to hit the druggie about his brother, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, you know Ferris?"
I totally forgot. I forgot that he knew Ferris. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I said, that joke keeps building itself. That I love it. Same thing with the police when they're talking to the mother in there. They're like, "Oh, send your regards to your boy Ferris there. Tell him the whole guard is rallying behind him."
I forgot just how widespread that was. Oh my gosh, I love.
Yeah,
this
when they're
movie.
at the baseball game and it shows the Zamboni or whatnot, and it says Save Ferris on it too.
You know, I like that it's, because so many movies at the time, right? They're like about the nerd, you know. They're about, you know, the nerd, and then he like, you know, it's just so stereotypical. But the popular jock guy, it was very basic, you know, when they made this stuff. They for once are like, hey, you know, this guy's popular, he's fun. There's something you can learn from that. So I really think that having Cameron in the movie, I don't think it'd be a very fun movie to watch without him. You know, we all have that friend that's kind of a worrywart. You know, he gets a little too, you know, he may be a little, you know, just a little too apprehensive about everything. Obviously, I'd probably be Cameron in every situation. It's like, you want me to do
Cameron.
what? You want? I am not Cameron. Do you hear me?
You are.
Are you sure that I should cuss out the principal and pretend to be your girlfriend's dad whose parents just died and
That's another great scene when he's on the phone. He's like, you know, sir, I want her on the steps this instant, alone.
I love the voice that he makes.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do need that Ferris to kind of push you outside your comfort zone a bit and to kind of get you to do things that you normally wouldn't. Somebody to kind of inspire you. Because as much trouble as Ferris caused throughout the movie, you know, they did whatever. They went to the art museum. There was the whole parade. Probably one of the... I don't know how I feel about the whole parade part. It was kind of a bit long.
You don't like the parade part of the movie?
No, I don't. I felt it went on too long.
What? That's like the best part of the movie.
What's so fun about it? Everybody's
It's a
like,
fun
oh,
scene.
It's the best part. He just gets up there and sings Twist and Shout.
Yeah.
I don't know what's that big a deal.
It's
of everything
a good
that he
scene.
does. Are you kidding? It's a good scene.
It's a great scene with a great song.
Of all the Beatles songs, I get it's the catchy one, but it's like, you know,
Sometimes your attitude towards scenes, I swear.
I like it when he's trying to figure out how to get out of situations. Like, I liked it immediately afterwards. They went into that restaurant and they had to convince that guy that he's an important person so they can get some seats. That was so much more entertaining and interesting. And the guy's not
guess
having
that's
it.
like the most boring scene for me.
He calls the cops. He's like, what does he try? He pretends that he's like, he owns like some hot dog company. Yeah.
King.
The Sausage King
Of Chicago.
It's just the best stuff. And
one of the funniest ones for me, and I still don't even understand the scene at all, even if it's supposed to be just a bunch of random funny moments, but it's the museum scene. And when they're all like holding hands and such with the little kids, and then you have the one shot of Cameron just staring at the painting, and then it goes back to the painting, and then it goes back to Cameron, and it keeps zooming into the painting, and I don't understand that at all, but it gets a laugh out of me every time.
He's just staring at it, you know, the whole time. I think that this movie's a bit ahead of its time when it comes to humor. They didn't...
To a degree.
To a certain extent, you know, they have, you know, the jokes of the time. You know, they had some slapstick in there, but stuff like that really flies nowadays. Like, that is kind of what's funny now. And I appreciate it when they don't just go for the low ball. You know, they're like, what the heck is he doing? He's just standing there just deeply moved by this painting, but they don't explain it. It doesn't have any meaning. He's just standing there, you know?
I think the movie's very typical. Like, you have the principal that's on top of the kids and such, but it goes that extra step with its humor. For instance, the principal goes to his house and like tries to seek out the kid, and that
gets the cops called on him.
Yeah.
You know, they had the dog. I barely remember it, but he like gets all tore up. It's
you know what's
silly stuff.
The first time I noticed it, and I've never noticed this scene, but he goes to the front door after being attacked by the dog, and there's a flower man there that's giving the flowers for Ferris that he's receiving.
Yep.
He grabs one of the pots from the man, and I never even noticed it, but he goes off to the dog and he's like, I got something for you. And you don't hear anything, but the next scene, you see the dog just like on the ground with the plant shattered. I never put two and two together, but he knocked the dog out.
Oh man. Alright, time to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
I just don't get what you don't find entertaining about it. I've never seen a more likable guy. I don't care if he's the most manufactured K-pop.
No,
or
I'm not saying that
BTS,
it's not entertaining. The whole I love this movie, but to put it in my top 10 or top 20, that's a little hard.
I like fun movies.
Maybe comedies, maybe top 20 comedies, but even then, like, I'd rather be watching something like Monty Python or Napoleon Dynamite or Nacho Libre.
I get what you're saying. I like most of those movies too.
It's a good movie, just for me, I mean, I can only watch it like maybe once every few years because it's just that memorable too. And like I don't know exactly how to say it, but as in terms of rewatchability, like it's so quotable and it's so memorable that there's just not really a point for me to rewatch it over and over and over again as many times.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know.
For me, the way the movie wraps up, I like it. You know, it's sudden. The whole time, you're having fun. There's laughs, giggles, everything works out, except for that Ferrari. They knew it. They put that bad boy in reverse. They're like, what the heck is on this odometer? What happened? And he's like, oh, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Put it in reverse and just put it up on some jack stands.
The logic of putting a car in reverse to put, like, the odometer meters down, I've never heard that in my entire life other than this movie.
To be fair, it makes sense to me, right?
Why does that make sense to you?
Mechanically, I mean, it obviously doesn't happen, but I could theoretically see it if I knew nothing else. It's like, oh, maybe it could, because, you don't reverse very far ever compared to how far you drive. I'm like, oh, you throw an extra gear in there, it's turning it. You put an extra gear in, now it's turning the other way. I'm like, oh, maybe.
Jace.
I'm just saying, if you told me that putting it in reverse, I wouldn't. I might have some questions, but I'm like, I could see how that'd be possible. So it's kind of like understandable where they're coming from. I didn't see it as like.
I'm sorry, Jace, but that's just dumb logic right there.
It's dumb logic. If the car goes in reverse. I don't know how an odometer works. Like, can you like pinpoint the mechanism? What makes it go forward and reverse then, Zeth, huh? Is there an extra,
but I'm
extra
just
gear?
saying, like, putting something in reverse does not make the mileage go down.
I know that, but I'm just saying, I could see how you could think that way,
No, I'm sorry. That's like having a lawnmower you've had forever and pushing it backwards makes it brand new again.
That's the whole point. It doesn't make it new again. It just turns a dial backwards. It still has that many miles, of course. It doesn't fix the car. It's just going backwards.
It's just funny that you think that's...
I didn't think that, but when he said it, I'm like, hey, I've never tried it, maybe.
No, I like his logic, though, too, Ferris, because right when they notice the mileage isn't going down, they're like, well, guess we got to pry open this thing and we can turn the miles down manually.
Which is how I think they actually do it, if you are going to do that. But on this, 1968 special Ferrari, that's... Yeah. But the ending of this movie is obviously, they had their laughs, but now it's dead serious. He got mad, he accidentally kicked off the jack stand, and that thing flies out that window. That thing's in the woods. It's junk. Yeah. And there's two things that I like. One's a little obvious, but the first thing is Ferris actually says, hey, I will take the blame for this. Don't worry about it. Like, he's a real one. He shows right then and there why people like him so much. They showed it earlier with, him changing grades and all that, but that right there is like, man, that is a good guy. He didn't even hesitate. He's like, yeah, this is kind of my fault here. I will take the fall for this one. And that takes guts, when it's not, it's, somebody's multi-million-dollar car that just got launched into the woods. But I like that Cameron takes that responsibility.
Yeah, that's a pretty good scene, but I like the humor before that, right when the car falls and Cameron's like, what did I do? And Ferris looks over, you killed the car. And it shows the car like all dented and smoke's coming out of it.
You killed the car.
You killed the car.
But he finally, after this whole time, he got... What was it? What bummed him out before? He would... It wasn't even the car. Right? That was like where the movie ends. He leaves. He's like, you know what?
That's where Cameron's story ends.
Right, but he's like, you know what? I'll take the blame for this one. I'm going to finally talk to my dad. And it's kind of like a turning point. What made him... I forget. What made him like all mopey earlier? Is that when they saw the miles on it or what?
I guess.
You remember that? Like they went to the pool. He threw him in. And
Ferris
had to save him. And
yeah.
Was that the mileage? I think that was the mileage.
Yeah, they're coming back from the city, and that's when they noticed that the miles that the two garage guys put on the Ferrari. That is probably one of the best scenes of all time, when the two guys are in the Ferrari and they come over the hill and the Star Wars music blares that shows their faces.
Yeah. I like that part.
That's where Cameron's story ends. The rest of the movie is just Ferris says goodbye to his girlfriend and stuff.
He says bye, and then he has to race his mom and dad back home and avoid the principal. Remember, he runs out in front of the car, and his sister sees him, and then she's like, you know what? I'll let him have this one. And then she lets him go, kind of distracts mom, and he makes it. My man. But you know what? The only complaint I have about his character is that my man totally, with Cameron, that's what it was. He totally made Cameron a third wheel. He picked up his girlfriend. It's not even his dad's car. It's Cameron's dad's car. But where's Cameron? In the back seat. Come on. My man, you got to stand up for yourself. That's why it's he talks him into all this stuff. And I just love it. Everything in this movie feels so real except for Ferris. That it's almost like a natural reaction. Cameron... Oh, sorry. Wait, no. Nothing in this movie feels real at all, except for Cameron.
Yeah.
So
I always get this movie mixed up with War Games sometimes, just because the beginning of the movie is so similar. You have it where Matthew Broderick's character in War Games has the girlfriend, and he's... I think he hacks the computer, or he dials into the school computers and he changes his grades as well as the girls. So I always get the beginning.
Is that seriously?
Yeah, it's the beginning of it.
I mean, I know, but it's I didn't realize after all this time how similar those intros were. Because it's not all that different. Ferris wakes up and he's like, I asked for a car, they gave me a computer.
Yeah, I think Matthew Broderick's character is a little more nerdier in War Games.
Oh, War Games is a different movie entirely.
I can't remember exactly. That's been a while since I've watched that one, but...
Wait, you don't remember War Games?
Well, I mean, that one's a little forgettable for me.
I mean, with the computer, and then they're the only way to win is not to
I could tell you the main plot, the kid accidentally hacks into the government and thinks he's playing... a new
geothermonuclear war.
But as far as little things in the story, I couldn't tell you. It's been a while on that one for me.
Yeah, I prefer this movie over that one for sure.
I'd have to watch the other one for sure. But as far as the comedy goes in this one, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, well I think I've said my piece. I like all the story beats that go on from his sister, the principal, them, the guys in the Ferrari, and how it all gets wackier and wackier, and at the end it all kind of like comes together into one giant last hurdle for him to avoid. And it's
I
not,
love the end credits of this because the entire movie, you watch the whole movie. Because even the credits have like the moment with the principal, and then right at the end of the movie, right at the end of the movie, you have Ferris coming out in, towel and for his hair and whatnot, and he's like, what are you still doing here? Go on, it's over. Goodbye.
The fourth wall breaks. I mean, I've never seen a movie start like that. Have you? I think actually that's another thing that sells it. He starts out the movie by just talking to us like just a chill guy. He's like, I asked for a car. They got me a computer. He's like, am I right? They make it so personal right off the bat that by the time they get to school, it's kind of believable. He's like, yeah, if he treats everybody like this, he's like, yeah, that's kind of fun. This is kind of a cool guy. I think that just kind of sells it a little bit more. Obviously, it's a joke, but you're like, oh, he's not like just some jerk, he's kind of just a cool dude.
Yeah.
The fourth wall break's just so funny, though.
I don't know if you could do that in the spin-off that they're planning with the two guys, but it definitely would make it interesting. Like, everybody kind of has like their own personal camera they talk to. In a way, like, I know that sounds stupid, but at the same time, I feel like that'd be a funny joke.
Every once in a while, I'm like, man, if only I could direct this differently. That idea is so stupid, I'm like, if I was the director, I just wouldn't take the role. I wouldn't want to put my name on that.
I'm really surprised that you don't like that idea.
Who's gonna make it? Paramount? Who owns this?
Yeah, Paramount.
The worst of all the streaming services? Is it going to be a show or a movie?
They just announced it. It's called whatever their character's name's day off. But I mean, I think it's an interesting concept. I mean, you can maybe not a 2-hour, 1-hour movie, but
the problem is maybe it'll be great. What do I know? The problem is I have nothing to base it off of. They were in the movie for what, 10 minutes? Like, not even 10 minutes. They were in there for like a minute and a half.
Yeah, but they were driving.
The keys.
They're driving the car for nearly 6.5 hours or whatever the time was. So there's a lot you can do in that time frame.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know these characters one bit. All I know
I
is
don't know. I
sleazy
think you can
car
do a lot
guys
with it because you have the one guy that has a really bad haircut, the guy who actually played Spike from Super Mario Brothers, and then you have the other character who I think has a bad hair too. I'm misremembering, but I think you can have some really funny things because they're both garage people. They're both not necessarily like high class. So it can sort of be like Ferris Bueller, where they can get away with a lot of stuff, maybe.
But they're
I don't
not
know. I think it's an
Ferris.
intriguing idea.
Actually, I like them in the context of the movie because it totally fits the theme. Like, they got away with it for all intents and purposes. They were coming around that corner, walking back to that car, and they whipped that bad boy in the garage, parked it, and they're like, here you go. They literally
Yeah, we'll
pulled up
see.
and it's like, oh, here you go.
We'll see. I'll be the more positive one on that front. You can be the more negative one. But I'll stick positive with that idea. I think that's a way better idea than doing a straightforward, like, Ferris Bueller's next day off or Ferris Bueller's
I don't want
day off
them to
from
touch
work.
it. That's the whole point. Just
I
don't
know,
touch
but
it.
with
It's
Top Gun
easy.
Top Gun that just came out and set the bar as to what a iconic sequel should be or a legacy sequel should be, we're going to start seeing a lot more of them now. Even more so than when Star Wars Episode 7 came out. We're going to probably see Goonies 2 here soon. We're probably going to see, the next Ferris Bueller's Day Off. maybe even Groundhog Day 2. Just bunch of weird films I feel like we're going to get, because we had Top Gun, we had the new Ghostbusters 3, Afterlife. Both of them did exceedingly well at the box office and were received well from fans. So, we can either get some really good legacy sequels that are super good and even better than the first movie,
It's not
or B,
that hard.
we can get terrible movies.
I think we're gonna get both. Going through all the movies you just listed, I never cared for the Goonies. I never cared for E.T. I never cared.
What?
I could care less about the Goonies. My goodness, I've seen it.
The
what, 2, 3
Goonies
times?
is in my top 10 of all time.
Why?
Because
watched it
it's
like
just
3
a good
times.
story with good characters. And it's funny. I think that's funnier than Ferris.
There's something about it never stuck with me. I could always care less. It's like, oh, do you want to watch it? I was like, I'd rather watch anything else. But yeah, sure, why not?
Jeez.
I don't even remember what happens in the movie. I've probably seen it 3-4 times in my life. I can't even remember a single thing that happens.
Are you
Not one.
serious?
Dead serious.
Man, I'm scared to review Karate Kid next with you, man.
Karate Kid's gonna be just like Ferris, if I'm guessing. I haven't seen it in years, but it's gonna be a simple movie, and it's gonna be kind of like, I don't remember what happens in that one either. I just remember the ending.
Wait till we do 2 and 3. You're gonna love those.
We're doing 2 and 3. I think that there's one movie that you and me both have to watch, and then immediately do a podcast after.
What?
I haven't seen it yet. I'll bet you haven't seen it yet. We got to do Moonfall.
Oh,
We
God.
gotta.
I'm not watching that.
Everybody
that is
says
directed
it's
by Roland
so
Emmerich.
bad.
It's directed
Yes.
by Roland Emmerich, who did Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. I refuse to watch any of his movies because of that
Wrong.
reason.
Everybody says that it is so bad that it's funny.
Yeah,
Everybody
I'm not watching
says-
it. I'm not watching it. You're not forcing me to watch that one.
we
It's
are
Roland
watching it.
Emmerich.
I have watched so
No.
many garbage movies per your request. You get to watch this one.
What garbage movies?
I had to sit through the Super Mario Brothers movie
And you
enjoyed every
it.
second of it.
You enjoyed it.
It is still a rolling turd of a movie. It's just kind of funny sometimes, and it's the same movie.
You enjoyed Super Mario Brothers. You enjoyed Over the Top.
I
what-
enjoyed
What other
it,
movies
but
did I
I'd
make you
hardly
watch?
call Over the Top a quality piece of cinema.
Listen,
It was
that is a
something to-
good movie.
I think I'd watch that maybe if I was in a hotel room and it came on TV. Maybe I wouldn't flip to Nickelodeon at night. I don't know. It's either that or The Fresh Prince. I'm having a hard time.
What are you
I
gonna watch?
don't know.
Full House?
Full House. I'm dead serious. I think I'd rather watch an episode of Full House than Over the Top. Again.
Oh, Jace. Listen, buddy.
It ain't good,
Listen.
but it's less annoying than that kid. Uncle Jesse could take it. Uncle Jesse could take it. I'm just saying. You know, any of those 3 little girls would have whined so much less than that stupid kid throughout that whole movie.
No, nothing can beat Over the Top
Oh
or
my
Super
gosh.
Mario Brothers, as
It
in
is-
terms of like quality entertainment. I'm serious. Super Mario Brothers is entertaining, man. Even
Oh,
if it's not.
entertaining.
Yeah, it's
What do
entertaining.
you think Moonfall's gonna be?
Not entertaining.
It's gonna be the most it's gonna be the same movie. It's gonna be the
No,
same thing
we
as
are
Mario,
not
where it's
doing
the most
Moonfall,
stupid thing
Jace.
you've ever seen. That it's just absolutely hilarious. We are watching it. I don't care. I don't care how many bad Godzilla movies he made. We have to watch it. It is.
He
that
made the
bad.
worst one. He didn't even make a Godzilla movie. He made Giant Lizard Attacks New York.
That's every Godzilla movie.
No,
you are
it's
so
not.
blind. You
Listen,
are so blind.
Listen, the only Godzilla movie that has New York referenced is in Final Wars.
He attacks Tokyo. So what? It's the same.
that's not
thing.
even close to New York.
It's not. Okay, so it's a different city.
And Godzilla movies
Godzilla shows
are
up.
the best.
Mothra shows up. They blow each other up. The government steps in. Godzilla comes back. He blows up more stuff.
Yeah,
And then
that's
King
entertaining
Ghidorah
right
comes
there.
from the sky. Wait, no, Biollante shows up. They fight, and then you see the face of the woman in the clouds just fading away. And they do it again and again, and that's every Godzilla movie. I
No,
cannot
it's not.
Wait. Tony, we are
I
going
cannot
to review every
wait.
single one.
Yeah, I
Every
can't wait to
single
show
one.
you because you're going to enjoy the first one. You're going to enjoy King Kong. You're going to enjoy the one with Mothra. You're going to enjoy the one with Biollante, which, I mean, you already did. You're going to enjoy all of the Heisei era films. You're going to enjoy all of them. You're going to enjoy every single one of them.
Is that a promise? If I
It
watch
is a
every
promise.
single of
It's
your
a promise.
30 plus Godzilla movies, you better watch Moonfall with me.
Listen, there is not 30 plus. I think we're up to 40 now.
Oh, I can't do it, Seth. I can't watch all of them. It's not.
Listen, it's
possible.
entertaining. Listen, as much as you complained about Over the Top, I really can't wait to hear you complain about some of these.
Some of, yeah, of course.
Just because you're a nitpicker.
I'm not a nitpicker.
You are a nitpicker.
It is our job to nitpick right now. This is what the whole thing is. What
No,
am I
it's
supposed
not.
to say? This movie was good. This
Yeah.
I liked the bad part. I that's not fun
Says
to
the
listen
person
to.
that says Top Gun Maverick was just okay.
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was. I just said it wasn't as good as the Batman. And I'm probably wrong. I just thought it was a little basic, which I like in a movie, just not that movie. I just thought they could have added more, but they didn't. But it's fine because it's good. But I just don't think that these old 90s movies have aged as well as you think they have.
What are we even talking about now?
I don't know, but it probably was way more entertaining than the whole Ferris Bueller part, I'll tell you that much.
No, I mean, there's multiple movies. I'm not saying the movie has to be an award-winning movie. It's just what you find entertaining. And
That's
the Godzilla movies are in they're my favorite franchise of all time. Every single one of them are entertaining. If you want to be technical, it's like, yeah, it's bad. You can see the strings. I mean, the story is incohesive. You got Biollante with Erica's face floating up in the stardust and whatnot. But it's still entertaining.
I just don't see why I would choose to watch this outside of the whole podcast thing, because it was great
Choose to watch
in
what?
1977 when they had nothing else to do but, like, I don't know, read Of Mice and Men. I don't, there was nothing else going on.
What are we even talking about? Are we talking about Godzilla? Are we talking about Ferris
Yes.
Bueller? Or are we
Godzilla.
Yeah.
They made one movie and they said, you know what? Let's do it again, but don't change anything. That would be weird.
No, you're wrong, because the first movie is not what you're thinking. You've never watched the original.
I have too. I was at your house. You
didn't.
You had the 3D TV, and we wore the glasses, and we watched the first movie. I remember.
How did we watch the first movie in 3D?
That's what I asked you, but you said trust me and threw on the glasses, and I couldn't tell any different. But I didn't say
What?
anything. What do you mean? It was at your old place. We watched that first Godzilla movie, black and white.
I don't even remember that.
We watched it. We did. I barely remember it. I just remember it like it's in
Well,
black
there's two
and
different
white.
versions of the first one that we have to watch.
Oh my gosh, I will watch it once. I'm
No,
doing a
we need to
favor
watch the
by
American
not-
version, and then we need to watch the Japanese one, because they're both totally different stories. You have the Japanese one that is taken from basically all Japanese perspective. Then you have the American one, which is tons of reshoots of Raymond Burr with his character. Just saying.
How many movies into the series does it stop feel like I'm watching sock puppets destroy downtown Clothesville? Like,
Okay.
I don't.
The first... Okay, the only one that you watched that was like that was King Kong versus Godzilla. And that's probably one of the best, as in terms of pure entertainment value. But when you're starting to get more into the quality of, like, the effects, the puppets, the suitmation and stuff, then we're starting to get into the Heisei era. So it's Godzilla movies are split into 3 separate categories, or 4 now, I guess.
But you have the Showa era, which is from the original to the Terror of Mechagodzilla. That's about 12 movies, I believe, maybe 13, 12 or 13. And then you have the Heisei era, which is in the late 70s to 90s. And those are my favorite, as in terms of its storytelling, the suits, the action, the acting, everything. Those are the best. Then you have the Millennium era starting in 1999 to 2004. And those are the ones that are crazy, like Final Wars, which I know you watched Final Wars.
Can we skip to that era? I'll
No.
watch like just
No.
pick your 3 favorites of each, and then we just skip to that one.
Then you have the Shin era, which is the only
current
one
one?
that they made. Yeah, the Shin Godzilla.
Where
and
do
then
they
I
get
guess
these names? Where?
it's I forget exactly what it's called, but it's based on the year that those were made. So you have Showa, Heisei, Millennium. They're
went through,
kind
like,
of
4 generations of emperors in Japan by the time they came out with this.
I don't know exactly, but it's something.
I thought it would be the. I kind of thought when you were talking about that, it's like the prime minister of Japan in the movie. Like, I know they change.
Yeah, so the different eras by their names are like the different ways that they just call them in Japan. It's like for us when we say back in the day, almost, but they
Oh, well-
label them that way.
Oh, I thought it was more like you call it like the Raimi trilogy, like you're talking about like OG
No.
Spider-Man, but now you're talking like new.
No,
Spider-
it's pretty deep Godzilla stuff, but you just call them by the years that they came out. So, but it's also like a Japanese thing. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, it's a lot to explain. Then you
We're
have like
watching-
reboots and why they stopped making them, and then you got the Hollywood remake, and then you got the Hollywood reboot in 2014. Remember when
What
this
have I s-
podcast was about Ferris Bueller?
We're watching Moonfall. We're gonna watch it
I
soon
don't
too.
want to watch Moonfall.
You are going to say that and cry and all this stuff, and then you're gonna watch it and be like, "That was the funniest thing I've ever seen." They have a Lexus in there, and then I swear I heard this. They have like a Lexus, and they're running away from like the moon, and then it's like, all right, we're going into hyperdrive, and then he like hits the button on the center console. It's like a whole Lexus ad. It's just so funny, and then it just it takes off, starts driving faster. It's just some SUV, some Lexus. It's a whole ad. It's gonna be the funniest thing of our lives, Seth. I don't think you'll laugh harder for anything. Does that not just sound like a whole recipe for disaster? Isn't that just sound great?